I got my globe in, and so I got this one because it's called a smart globe because it has the constellations. You can see them down here. These are the stars that the different cultures, different parts of the world, ancient traditions. When they looked up at the stars, they seen animals, and also they seen other pictures of I don't know, like I think Hercules is on here, but that comes from the Greco-Roman orientation that we're from, and we're considered Western. When they divide it up in, well, at least in mythology, they talk about Eastern and Western philosophy and mythology and stuff like that. But the Eastern is like Asia and China and Japan, and they have more of a holistic kind of look at things. The West is considered dualistic because we tend to see things in terms of opposites. There's always a contest between good and evil, for example, and in the Eastern orientation, like Asia and China and Japan and like that, they're more holistic, and their emphasis is on have a different emphasis. Like they have what's called the yin and the yang, or the yin and the yang, and that's kind of their framework for their traditions and mythologies and philosophies. But anyway, so this is this is the United States right here, and this is Florida, where I live, and we're considered on the East Coast. California over here is on the West Coast, and they got the Pacific Ocean right here, and on this side over here we got the Atlantic Ocean. And part of the reason I got this is because I never was really educated very well on world civilization and stuff when I was a kid. I had to kind of learn some of that as I got older. But you can see, like I did learn about continental drift, and I know that there's, I thought there were 7 continents. I've got a map here that came with this, and it has all the different flags of the different countries of the world. And we got North America, Europe, Africa, down here at the bottom, and then got South America up here, and then down Asia, and what's called Oceania. Well, I don't even remember Oceania. There's only 6 things on there, but I don't know. I thought there were 7 continents. And anyway, I don't really know too much, but I know a little bit. And continental drift, you can see how, like if you look at the globe, like this part right here can fit right over here, like if it was a jigsaw puzzle. But there's something called continental drift, and that's what they show you in school, how the world kind of separated across the oceans. And we gave names to the oceans, different parts of the water. You can see most of the world is water. Most of it is water. But anyway, so here's Florida, and so when I was in the military, we crossed the Atlantic Ocean, and we went up. Let's see. We went up to. So we went from here all the way on the aircraft carrier, all the way up to up to, where's the entry point at? Right here. Okay. Right here. This is the entry point, or the Mediterranean Sea. And then it goes up like this. And then we went all through here. And you got, you know, I spent some time in Egypt, which is right here. And Turkey, which is up here. And then come down into the Red Sea. And over here you got Saudi Arabia. You know, I spent time in Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Turkey, mostly. That's all right here. That's where we were protecting our interests. And anyway, and there's the Mediterranean. Yeah, it goes way out here. I'm pretty sure there's actually waves in the Mediterranean that you can actually I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's the Mediterranean I'm thinking about. I think it's the Amazon. But anyway, I was gonna say, Amazon, I think there's waves big enough that you can surf on the Amazon. But anyway, anyway, that's where I was. But and then I'm gonna turn the light out so you can see all the constellations. The Earth rotates in this direction like this, and then you know, it used to be even back in Jesus' time, I you know, at least in the, what we consider to be Greco-Roman, the West, you know, we thought, you know, a long time ago that the world was flat. We didn't know, and we thought that, you know, the Earth was the center of the universe. You know, and you know, God made everything. You know, the Earth was the center. But you know, we understand now that you know, the Earth is just like a star, and it moves. It rotates around the sun, and that's how, you know, we come to understand different things. You know, like gravity and stuff like that, and Earth's axis and everything like that, and how the Earth turns, but yet the Earth rotates around the sun. So the sun is up here, and the sun goes down here. You know, so this is like the North Pole up here, and this is the South Pole down here. But you know, the South Pole is way big. All right, I'm going to turn the light out so you can see the constellations. Okay. Now, so you know, in this one, if you look, it has these are all the stars, and the way that they named the astrological constellations, and when they looked at them and studied them, they thought they kind of made the outline of different animals. Okay. And anyway, let's see, like I don't know, like right here there's a fish. Right, no, see where my finger is. Okay, like right there is a fish, you know, and then I don't know, right here that's a wing of a bird, some kind of something. But you can see all that. I don't know. It might be a. I can't even. That right there. What's that? To me, it looks like a dog. I know there's a dog on here. There's different animals on here. But anyway, these are all star constellations. And you know, when I was a kid, I think it was my dad. Look, right here is a crawdad, or one of them things with snappers, you know, like a crawfish or something. I'm sure they got. But anyway, the point is that I wanted to make, okay, is that you know, when they seen when the ancient people looked up, they studied, you know, they studied what they saw, you know, and they studied it a lot. You know, today we don't, you know, really. Oh, I kind of want to keep this here. We don't really. I think it's I think it's too bad, you know, that we don't can, study like they did. Like, look right here, look at that big thing right there. Let's see, where my fingers right there. That's look. That looks like looks kind of like a cat. I mean, it's got little ears, and let's see what does it say. The giant beast. Well, anyway, that's what I said before. I put it on my card that I made. It's special to me. Ask the beast, and they will teach you. Fowls of the air, and they'll show you and stuff. I think that we do ourselves a disservice if we don't study animals and the character traits of animals. Like, for example, there's one animal, rodent, can't remember what kind it was, a gopher. I think it was a gopher. Like, for example, they like to take stuff down into their den and save it, shiny things and stuff, and they like to save them, and they hide them, and special to them. And you think, see, they're called, they're sentient creatures. They're sentient is the word that you might learn, and it means that they kind of think with emotion and feeling, and they have value. And so, I hope I had some books that talked about a lot of different animals and what their character traits were, and I hope that I still have them. I've had a lot of stuff stolen from me, but I hope I can find them. I haven't been able to find them lately. I looked a little bit, but I just wanted to just point it out, about the world, and that's why I got this, because I need to learn more about the world. And and like I was saying before, we have a very small kind of outlook. We don't have a worldview. There's something that you come across somewhere along your education. It's called worldview, and it's good to have a worldview, and it's good to see things from other perspectives that aren't really emphasized in our culture. And today, a lot of what you consider to be the West, the Greco-Roman kind of influence, we tend to more to be focused on self-achievement, whereas in the East it's communal achievement. And we have made a lot of advances, in medicine, in science, but in the Eastern cultures, they use, at least the way that I see it, is they're more holistic, what you call holistic, and they look at the world, what we call creation, as every part of it is essential. In the West, we don't sometimes think every part of everything is essential, and that's a nuance that characterizes the way that Westerners think, as opposed to people from the Orient. So, I just want to encourage you, when you're studying, to learn about all this stuff, because the value is insurmountable. And I think it's from God. It's from our source. And I just can't overemphasize the fact that that's why I got this, because I got this globe because it has the constellations And most of the constellations are all animals. You know, animals, and I don't know, like I know Hercules is on there. The ram, here's, you know, even where's my finger at? Right there. The ram, there's a ram. You know, I don't know, you know, why did they see, when they're looking up at the stars, why did they see the outlines of animals? That's because animals speak to us. And they should speak to us. And they should speak to you. You should study the animals. And if you study the animals, you'll learn what God is wanting you to know. Because, I mean, you know, I don't know, Bob Dylan, you know, when he became a Christian, you know, for a brief phase in his life, you know, he wrote a song, a man gave name to all the animals in the beginning a long time ago. You know, and that's what, you know, the record says, you know, we gave name to the animals. And, well, we might have gave name to the animals, but the animals were given, well, at least the way I see it, it might not be really saying it the way that it is, you know, say that, you know, truth, well, language is only a lie about the truth. That's because we can't, like, language is inadequate to describe essence and being. Well, I'm getting a little philosophical here, but it's true. You always have to understand that there's always a communication barrier. And you'll find out when you, like, say, for example, take speech class or something, they're always going to tell you that there's a communication gap from one person to another. And it's, when you're trying to teach somebody something, you know, you always have to be aware of that communication gap, because you know, things mean different things to different people. Well, anyway, enough said about that. I just want to say, you know, you should find a lot of inspiration, you know, from the world as we know it. And well, I was going to say that back in Jesus' time, you know, they thought the world was flat. You know, it wasn't until our later evolution and learning and stuff like that. In fact, I think the guy that said that the world wasn't flat, I think the Catholic Church killed him, because they weren't gonna look at that. I think it was Galileo. But anyway, well, you know, carry on. And I just wanted to give you that. I hope you can see that as a source of encouragement. I'm trying to encourage you to, you know, open your eyes to the whole world and everything in it, from the stars to the oceans to the mountains to the seas, and count your lucky stars. That's what my youngest son's, Isaac's mother, told me one time, is I should thank my lucky stars. Anyway, have a good one.